The sky was calm. Then it began with a strange hum. It began with a strange hum-low, heavy and unnatural. Birds flew away. Animals ran. People stood in the streets looking up. Something was wrong. Above Earth's southern hemisphere, clouds twisted into a spiral. A massive shadow spread across the land. The sun dimmed. Then the fire fell. From orbit, alien warships opened their holes and rained plasma onto cities below. Blue-white beams lit the sky, slamming into skyscrapers, melting metal, and tearing open roads. Entire neighborhoods vanished in seconds. Screams were drowned by the roar of destruction. This was Invasion Day 12, and Earth was losing in the heart of what used to be Washington, D.C. General Elias Reyes stood in a concrete bunker, staring at the last map they had. Red lights blinked all across Earth's remaining defense points, falling one by one. "They've broken through the eastern barrier," a young officer said, voice shaking. "Asia and Europe have both gone dark. No signal from command base. Polaris either." Reyes clenched his jaw. His eyes were sunken. He hadn't slept in 2 days. "How many cities left?" he asked quietly. "4," the officer replied. "2 of them won't survive the next hour." The general turned toward the frozen south. A giant wall monitor showed Antarctica, silent and cold. No alien ships hovered over it yet. Then, "We have no choice," Reyes said. He opened a black case on the table. Inside was a single key. "Silver, heavy, ancient, sir," the officer said, alarmed. "That's Protocol Eternum. It hasn't been activated and Reyes didn't let him finish. I know what it is. I know it was made for this moment." Far beneath the ice of Antarctica, miles below the surface, machines came alive. It started as a spark, then a surge. Hidden in the ice shelf known as Dome Argos, sensors lit up. Doors that had been sealed since the Middle Ages unlocked themselves. Steam hissed from vents, walls moved, and deep in the frozen dark, something began to pulse. Lights flickered in an ancient underground facility built long before modern Earth. Had satellites or rockets? Rusted signs read Argus Station Level 0. A voice echoed through the chamber. "Calm. Mechanical. Protocol Eternum confirmed." Run Siog. Run Semmer Run Git. Run Semmer Semmer Wade. Run Semmer Wade. Com Semmer to be some rig a wedaid. I would. A wind up is in wedded. Gathered up so well when and with it. A retawid. A endak of selbens at a ra as I why. And with Guedica so weaker word. Gas senj signal sursic. Above ground, alien warships noticed the anomaly. In low orbit, the Zalcor fleet moved with exact precision. The command ship, a floating behemoth that blocked out the stars, hovered over South America. Inside, High Commander Vernex scaled, tall. With 4 burning eyes, watched the data feed. "Explain this," he hissed, pointing at a strange pulse. Of energy from the Antarctic zone, a drone officer clicked its mandibles. "It is human technology, but not from this era." "So then they've been hiding something," Vernax growled. "Sen probes. I want it crushed before it wakes." Meanwhile, on the icy surface of Antarctica, a team of human soldiers arrived. In a VTOL aircraft, Captain Yara Chen led the squad. Tough, smart, cold as the land around her. She'd heard the rumors of a secret facility buried under the ice, guarded by myths and military ghosts. "Eyes up," she said, as the team approached a massive metal door half buried in the snow. It had no visible handle, just a glowing handprint. She pressed her palm against it. The door clicked, then opened. Inside was a long tunnel, perfectly preserved. Warm air rushed out. Lights activated one by one as they moved deeper. "This place isn't dead," whispered one of her soldiers. No, Yara said. It's waking up. They reached a giant control room at the heart of the complex. Screens showed Earth's battle data in real time. The strangest thing was a machine in the center, a tall black tower with glowing blue veins and a voice that suddenly spoke. Argus online. Human command confirmed. Project Centurion awakening. Captain Yara frowned. Argus. What is Project Centurion? The final weapon, the voice replied. Designed by Earth's lost civilization, programmed to awaken only when humanity faces extinction. The floor rumbled. Somewhere far below, gears moved. Lights flashed. And across the continent, seismic monitors began to spike. Back in orbit, the alien probes reached Antarctica. What they saw terrified them. The ice cracked. A circular platform 3 kilometers wide rose from beneath the surface. It wasn't made of steel or stone. It was alive, made of something that looked like metal but healed like flesh. A glowing ring of energy burned around its edge. From its center, a massive shape rose. A humanoid machine, over 400 meters tall. With armor like obsidian and eyes like stars, Project Centurion had awakened. The alien probes tried to fire. The machine moved faster. In one clean motion, Centurion raised its arm. The glowing ring spun. A pulse shot outward like a ripple across the world, and the alien probes were gone, disintegrated in midair. On the command ship, High Commander Vernak screamed. That weapon was not in their records. They have technology older than this cycle, one drone reported, possibly millions of years old. I want every ship we have focused on that thing. Earth dies now. But it was too late. Back at Argus Station, General Reyes joined Captain Yara in the awakened system. He stared in awe at the machine on the screen. You did it, he whispered. It's real, the Argus voice responded. Centurion, operational, but incomplete. Only 33% power. 3 missing reactors must be recovered. Yara turned. Where? Amazon Basin, Lunar Vault, Mariana Rift. General Reyes looked at the screen. The Centurion stood silent now, glowing in the snow. This is our turning point, he said. The moment we stop running, the moment we fight back. Outside in the sky above Antarctica, more alien ships appeared. They began to descend, charging. Weapons. Then Centurion's chest glowed, and the sky over Earth bled fire again. But this time, it was not from the enemy. 12 hours after Centurion awakened, the world had changed. The alien ships no longer advanced. In fact, they retreated. Not far, but just enough to show fear. Humanity had been on the edge of extinction. Now they had something the galaxy didn't expect. An ancient weapon they barely understood. At Argus Station, under Antarctica's ice, Captain Yara Chen watched as the Centurion stood still in the blizzard. It glowed with blue light and steam. Its arms rested at its sides, but its sensors tracked everything above and below. General Reyes entered the command chamber, exhausted but alert. Any change? He asked. Yara shook her head. Its holding position. Waiting for new power. The Argus AI voice returned. Centurion status. 33% operational. Reactors 1, 2, and 3 are offline. Weapon will remain limited until all cores are recovered. Reyes frowned. And these reactors, where exactly are they? First reactor, South America. Amazon Basin. Coordinates transmitting now. A 3D map flickered to life. A red marker pulsed deep inside the jungle, far from civilization. Vault 1 status. Sealed. Last accessed. 864 years ago. Yara blinked. That can't be right. Reyes didn't respond. He simply nodded and turned. Get your team ready. He said, you leave in 2 hours. Above Earth, the Zalcor Empire regrouped. High Commander Vernak stood over a war map, tail twitching in anger. A single machine holds back our entire armada, he hissed. Unacceptable, one of his aides spoke. Centurion is old tech, ancient, but its power is unmatched. slammed a clawed fist onto the table. Then we follow them. Track every human movement. Find out what fuels that monster, then destroy it before they complete it. A stealth probe launched silently towards South America. Deep in the Amazon jungle, it rained hard. Trees as tall as buildings towered over wet, broken soil. Captain Yara's dropship cut through the clouds. Shaking in the storm, her team sat ready for elite soldiers. It's all silent. She checked her wrist pad. Coordinates led under that ridge, she said. No satellite image shows anything there. But Argus says the vault is real. As they landed, the jungle around them felt wrong, too quiet, not even birds. One of the soldiers, Diaz, muttered, "You feel that? Like something's watching." Yara nodded once. "Stay alert. This place hasn't been touched in centuries." They hiked through thick vines and wet mud until they reached a rocky cliff. Behind it, half buried under roots and moss, was something metal. "Why?" Era stepped forward, cleared the moss beneath it. A smooth, round door. Black alloy, no rust, no damage. A glowing symbol flashed once, then turned red. "Identity mismatch," a voice said. Yara stepped back. "It's locked. It needs someone else." Suddenly, her wrist pad blinked. Argus was calling in. "Captain, Vault 1 requires genetic signature of the last warden. Continue operation. Prepare for external override." Yara stared into the trees. What the hell is the last warden? Back in Argus Station, General Reyes stood next to a large stasis pod, frosted and sealed. Inside it was a man. He looked human, but different. Armor fused to his skin, strange markings across his face. He looked like a soldier from another world and, yet entirely Earthborn. Argus spoke. Designation: Captain Silas Kale, last warden of Earth's first civilization. Authorized for Centurion command and vault access. Ace took a deep breath. "Wake him up." Steam hissed. The pod opened. The man's eyes shot open, glowing faint blue. His first words, "Is the war finally here? Back in the jungle?" Yara's team waited. Then her comes crackled. "Captain Chen, reinforcements inbound. Priority, escort Silas Kale to the vault." Within the hour, another dropship arrived. Silas stepped out. Tall, focused, calm like ice. Yara raised an eyebrow. "You're the last warden." He nodded once. "That vault has been sealed for a reason. We built it to stay buried." "Then why? Are we opening it?" He looked at her. "Because we don't have a choice anymore." The group returned to the vault. Silas stepped forward and placed his hand on the metal. The red light turned green. The door sank into the ground with a deep, grinding sound. Inside, darkness. Then slow blue lights lit up along the walls. The team stepped in, weapons drawn. What they saw next made them freeze. Rows of humanoid suits, large, metallic, lined like statues. Each one was wired to a glowing chamber. "Power systems still active," Yara whispered. "Are these weapons?" Silas nodded. "They're guardians, protectors of the first world." "Where did your civilization go?" she asked. His voice was quiet. "We didn't vanish. Went to sleep. To wait for this moment." At the vault's core, they found Reactor 1. It was shaped like a heart, pulsing faint light. It didn't look like modern tech. It looked alive. Almost like it breathed. Suddenly the walls shook. Outside, weapons fire, alien drones. Vernax's stealth probe had arrived. And it was not alone. The vault defenses activated. Ancient turrets rose from the ground, firing beams that melted the jungle floor. Soldiers fought back to back, covering Silas as he began the activation sequence. Yara ducked behind a pillar, shooting down a flying drone. "Can we move the reactor?" She shouted. "No," Silas said. "Must be awakened here and protected. Until it's done, then we hold this place." For 20 minutes, the fight was brutal. One soldier was taken by plasma fire. Another pulled Yara away. From a collapsing ledge, Silas finished the activation. The reactor's glow turned golden. The floor vibrated, and far away. In Antarctica, Centurion's chest pulsed brighter. The alien drones tried to flee, but one final defense system activated. A blast wave of light surged from the vault, racing all Zelkor presence in the area. Silence followed. Rain fell again. Silas stood. Reactor 1 is active. Yara looked around at the ruined entrance. They're surviving. Soldiers and the strange man beside her. One down, she said. He nodded. 2 more to go. The Mariana Rift had never been silent like this. The sensors from Earth's deep-sea outposts, those few still working, showed one thing: movement. Massive. Slow. Rising. Not a submarine. Not an alien ship. Something alive. Not of Earth. And from the edges of its shape, void energy leaked out pure darkness. Colder than space, in low orbit, Commander Vernock stared at the live feeds from the rift. He snarled at his officers. This is what the humans were hiding, not a weapon, a prison. Drone officer trembled. Shall we engage? Vernax turned slowly. No, we are leaving this system. But the Centurion Vernax's voice was like thunder. If that creature fully awakens, not even Centurion can stop it. They began pulling back. Fleeing Earth, however, had no such choice. At Argus Station, alarms rang. Reyes and his officers studied the trench feeds. The rising shape was enormous, impossible to scan fully. The computer labeled it Unknown Entity Class Void Beast. Argus gave its assessment. Final core location confirmed. Vault 3 buried beneath Mariana Rift. Reactor is integrated with containment field. Retrieval must occur within 48 hours. The Void Beast will escape. Reyes turned to the map. The vault sat directly beneath the rift, but to reach it, the team would need to dive deeper than any modern vehicle had survived. He opened the cum line. Silas, we need you underwater. Aboard the deep dive vessel Helios, Captain Yara Chen prepared her squad. They stood in a narrow launch bay, surrounded by reinforced suits and submersible tech. Silas Kale entered, his armor shifting slightly. With each step, it had changed, reacting to the core energy he'd touched. The blue lines glowed brighter now. Yara looked at him. How deep are we going? Past known depth, he said. Straight into the pit where we sealed the beast. And what do we do if it's already loose? Gave a short, hard answer. Run. The dive began. The Helios creaked under pressure. Outside the window, black water, rising bubbles, drifting particles, then dash movement, something long and thin, drifted past the hull. But it wasn't a fish. It was a finger-curled, bone-white. Longer than the entire ship. Eyes open, Yara said. Argus's voice crackled over the cums. Vault 3 entrance detected. Activating signal beacon. The mountain below them split open like a jaw. Vault 3 was different. It wasn't metal or clean. It looked carved into the ocean floor, twisted like melted stone. Symbols pulsed. Along the walls, old Earth language, mixed with something unreadable. As the team entered the main chamber, Alice stopped. This wasn't all ours? What do you mean? Yara asked. He knelt beside the wall. We built Vaults 1 and 2, but Vault 3 found it, and we built around it. She looked at him. Then who made it? He didn't answer. At the vaults. Center was the final reactor. But unlike the others, this one was pulsing violently. It was struggling, barely containing something beneath it. Suddenly, the floor cracked. A deep roar, low and ancient, echoed through the water. The void beast was rising. The chamber began to collapse. Rocks fell. The power systems started to fail. Yaris. Team rushed to secure the reactor. Argus, she shouted. How long until full failure? 7 minutes until containment breach. Silas activated a control panel. His palm glowed. The reactor began sinking, but the ground shook from behind them. A massive claw broke through the wall, black and veined with red light. The void beast had found them. Outside the vault, in the trench, it emerged. Not fully, but enough to see it. Form it had no true face. It's just writhing tendrils, a shifting center, and a single glowing eye the size of a city. It didn't swim, it glided, like gravity didn't apply. Back inside the chamber, the sinking completed. Reactor 3 online. Transmitting energy to Centurion? In Antarctica, Centurion's eyes burned gold. Its form shifted again, wings unfolded. Its chest changed shape, glowing with layered rings. Synchronization complete. Full power achieved. Centurion entering final state. Yara turned to Silas. Let's go. He stared at the vault a moment longer. We sealed this thing once. But now, ... Centurion doesn't just hold it back. What then? He looked up. It's time we destroy it. As they escaped to the Helios, the vault collapsed behind them. The pressure rose. The void beast followed. But before it could catch them, a blinding beam fell from the clouds above the Pacific. Centurion had fired. A white lance of solar energy slammed into the ocean, piercing miles of water, striking the void beast directly. The creature screamed not with sound but with static, felt in every ship, satellite, and brain on Earth. Then it vanished beneath the waves. Not dead. Not yet. But wounded. And Earth had bought time. The sky over the Amazon was still. The vault door had closed behind them. Captain Yara Chen sat near the jungle's edge, her uniform stained with smoke and mud. She stared at Silas Caltha, last warden. He stood tall, armor fused to his skin. Strange glowing patterns across his veins. He hadn't aged. His eyes looked ancient. Not tired, burdened. Yara finally asked the question everyone had avoided. Who were you people? Silas turned slowly. We were the first humans to understand what waited beyond the stars, and we were the first to build weapons that could stop it. She frowned. Why did your world vanish? He said nothing at first. Then, because we knew it wasn't safe to stay awake. Above them, orbiting Earth, the Zalcor High Command received the latest failure report. Commander Vernox crushed a holoscreen in rage. They have awakened something ancient, he growled. One of his tacticians spoke. The warden Silas Kalias activated the first reactor. Their war machine is growing stronger. Then kill, the warden Vernax said. We may not stop the Centurion, but if we erase its controller, Earth falls with it. He pointed to the moon on the galactic map. Send a full strike fleet to Vault 2. If they're headed to the lunar site, we get there first. At Argus Station, Antarctica, General Reyes stood in silence as Centurion's energy levels increased. The machine had shifted its stance. Power flowed stronger, now blue lines along its arms lit up. Argus spoke. Reactor 1 synchronized. Energy output increased by 18%. Second core required for Phase 2 weapons. Reyes rubbed his temples. How many hours before the aliens attack again? Estimated time? 14 hours. He looked out through the thick, reinforced glass. We'll need every second. Back on the Amazon transport ship, Silas sat with Yara, going over old maps. The ship hummed quietly through the clouds. Rain struck the windows. You built these vaults how long ago? She asked. Silas paused. Roughly 1,000 years. Before your calendar. Before modern civilization. That doesn't make sense, one soldier said. There's no record of your people, nothing in history. Silas gave a small smile. That was the plan, he explained. A long time ago, Earth made contact with something beyond the galaxy. Not an empire, not aliens, a presence. It fed on stars. It consumed civilizations. It left no records because survivors left none behind. Earth's early civilization. His. Civilization had created Centurion and its vaults to prepare for that threat, but they didn't have time. So they did the unthinkable. They erased themselves, went into stasis, buried their tech, and built Argus to wake only if Earth was near extinction. Yar leaned forward. And the Zalcor. They're not the main threat? No, Silas said. They're just foolish enough to dig in places they don't understand. The dropship broke through the atmosphere and approached the moon. A massive crater was their destination, one that wasn't a crater at all, but a hidden vault. Silas stood as they descended. I need to warn you, he said. Vault 2 was the most dangerous. Yara asked. He looked at her grimly. Because it doesn't just store the reactor, it guards it with something we left behind inside. The lunar vault. Silence ruled. Everything was still until the human team entered. Metal halls stretched for miles, with unknown symbols. There was no dust, no damage. Lights flickered on as they walked. It was like stepping into a living museum of the impossible. Then they heard it. A low breathing sound. Mechanical, deep. Yara raised her rifle. What was that? Answer. He stepped into a wide chamber, and there, curled up in the center, was something monstrous. A humanoid figure. 15 meters tall, made of black alloy like Centurion, but broken, scarred. Red eyes slowly opened. Unauthorized presence. Detected, it said in a voice of thunder. The vault's old defense protocol had activated. Run. Silas shouted. The creature lunged forward, claws glowing with energy. It wasn't just a robotit. It was a Centurion prototype left behind because it had been. It's unstable. Yara's team scattered, firing at the machine, but the rounds bounced off harmlessly. The entire chamber shook. Silas reached the control pillar, trying to override the Guardian's AI. Come on, he muttered. You're one of us. Stand down. Designation, Silas Kale. Recognized. Error. Biological override locked. Override logged, he whispered. Reason, Warden presumed deceased. He looked over his shoulder. Well, I'm not. Outside. As if the chaos wasn't enough, the Zalcor fleet arrived. Alien dropships rained onto the moon's surface. Elite soldiers entered the vault system, hunting for the humans and the second reactor. A full-scale war broke out inside the ancient vault. Yara's squad held their ground. The unstable Guardian tore through metal walls, ignoring both human and alien forces. It didn't care who it destroyed. Silas did the only thing he could. He ran toward the reactor chamber. Deeper inside, he found it at the core, glowing with red and gold light. But it was connected to the Guardian. Its power fed the monster. Yara joined him, bleeding from a wound. We'll never shut it down without killing ourselves. Silas opened a panel on his arm. I wasn't planning to shut it down. He activated his neural link and sent one command. Force loyalty reset. The Guardian screamed. It fell to one knee. Then slowly it stopped moving. A voice echoed again. Override accepted. Reactor 2 unlocked. Synchronizing. Everything went still. Above Earth, Centurion's eyes flared. Power surged through its body, this time glowing. White Dot Argus sent out a global message to all surviving human defense forces. Centurion synchronization, 67%. Phase 2 weapon systems online. The Zalcor forces on the moon were vaporized by a sudden blast of lunar defense energy systems. Once offline, now active again. Back aboard the ship, Yara collapsed into a chair, 2 reactors down. One more. To go, but her eyes moved to Silas. He stared silently into space. What's wrong? She asked. He said nothing at first. Then, when I connected to Vault 2, I saw something. A signal. Something else is waking up. In the Mariana Rift. The cold wind howled across Antarctica. Snow blew in every direction, but Centurion didn't move. It stood still, taller than any mountain around, its glowing body humming like a heartbeat. Then something changed. Its chest lit up. The second. Corehead Sid, at Argus Station, General Reyes and his officers watched the data come alive. Status report. Reyes shouted. Argus replied, its voice calm as always. Reactor 2 synchronized. Centurion operational at 67%. Unlocking Phase 2 weapons. Initiating system reconfiguration. On the giant screens, Centurion's arms began to shift. Opened. New components rose from beneath its back. Twin pylons locked into place. Inside its chest, a new weapon system came online. A label flashed. Solar Lancer. Primed. One of the officers stared in disbelief. Is that, a space cannon? No, Reyes said. That's Earth's answer to orbital warfare. In orbit, the Zalcor fleet didn't wait. Thousands of ships hovered above the South Pole. watching the giant Earth machine grow stronger. Commander Vernax could feel fear creeping into his crew. He snarled, "Begin strike protocol. Every ship, every weapon, hit that thing before it activates." The sky turned black. Tens of thousands of plasma beams, kinetic slugs, and nuclear bursts rained down onto Centurion's location. But they never touched the ground. Centurion raised its right arm. A barrier of pure energy formed above it, like a dome made of starlight. Alien firepower struck the barrier and vanished. Inside, Argus, the power reading spiked. Argus spoke again. "Solar Lancer charging. Targeting priority threat. Zalcor orbital dreadnought." A large hexagon opened in Centurion's chest. Light poured from it, blinding hot, humming with impossible energy. Then it fired. A beam of white fire shot into the sky. Out. It didn't. Swerve didn't slow. It simply erased the dreadnought. Not exploded, dash deleted. The Zalcor fleet panicked. Ships scattered. Communications broke down. Some retreated into deep orbit, while others fell toward Earth. The balance had shifted. Centurion had truly awakened. Meanwhile, on the moon, Captain Yara Chen and Silas Kale watched the Solar Lancer fire from their dropship. Yara's jaw dropped. That thing. It just destroyed a dreadnought like it was paper. Silas looked distant. This is only its second form. When the third core is installed, it will become something no alien dares face. Yara looked at him. But you saw something else. In Vault 2? You said something was waking up? Silas nodded slowly. Before the fall of my civilization, we sealed something at the bottom of Earth's deepest ocean. Something that doesn't belong in this universe. And now it's waking up too. The Mariana Rift. 11,000 meters deep. Darker than space. No sunlight. No warmth. Just pressured in silence. But something stirred. Something old. Under layers of crust and sealed doors, a massive black sphere began to pulse faintly. Inside it, a shape moved, shifting like oil, breathing like a beast. A crack formed in the wall. The deep sea monitors went offline. The last message they sent: warning, Vault 3 compromised. Unknown energy escape. At Argus Station, alarms. RANGARGUS reported Vault 3 has partially opened. Final reactor at risk. Void entity detected. General Reyes felt a chill. Void entity. It is not Zalcor, not machine, not biological. What is ... other? Argus displayed a screen, an image of something vast, no clear form floating upward through the ocean trench. Silas's voice came through Combs. Do not let that reactor fall into the rift. It was designed to power Centurion, but also to trap the beast. The message cut off. Yara's dropship returned to Earth. As it passed over the Pacific, she saw storm systems forming unnaturally above the trench. Lightning struck in rings. The sea bubbled. As they flew lower, giant alien wrecks from past battles littered the ocean, floor crushed, twisted, and burned. Silas stood by the window. I hoped this thing never woke up. Even the Zalcor are afraid of what lives down there. That's why they came here first, to delay the real threat. Yara frowned. You're saying the alien invasion wasn't about Earth? No, he said. It was about what Earth was hiding. In space, Vernax finally realized the truth. One of his scientists showed him the ancient codes retrieved from human ruins. They didn't build Centurion to fight us, scientists said. They built it to contain something worse. Vernax backed away from the screen, his claws trembling. We must pull back. Now. Ships began to leave Earth's orbit. It was too late. From deep below the sea, a voice began to echo through. All human and aliens call. No words, just a sound like cracking glass and screaming stars. Silas whispered, It's awake. Centurion, standing in Antarctica, turned its head, slowly facing the Pacific. Argus spoke. Mariana Rift breach confirmed. Recommend immediate deployment of final reactor. Reyes nodded. Send the warden. Get that core. Make sure whatever's rising out of that trench. He looked at the glowing titan outside. Meets its match. The ocean trembled. Sky shook. And as humanity's greatest weapon prepared for its final upgrade, the galaxy realized something too late. Earth's real secret wasn't just Centurion, was what Centurion was built to hold back. The Void Beast had returned to the deep, wounded, not destroyed. Earth had survived barely, but far above the clouds. A betrayal was already in motion. On the edge of the solar system, a small fleet drifted in silence. Not Zalcor, not human. They were the Vraken, quiet but ancient race. Observers, historians, their ships were black, sleek, and designed for stealth, not war. Their leader, Lee Moore, stood in silence, watching the sensor feeds from Earth. Behind him, a young Vraken analyst whispered, "The Centurion has reached final state. It can stop the Rift creature." Lee Moore narrowed his eyes. That's the problem. At Argus Station, General Reyes watched as new energy reports poured in. Centurion's final form was now online. Its weapons were fully active. Its armor pulsed with light that bent gravity around it. Argus announced, synchronization complete. All reactors stable. Earth defense capacity at maximum. Reyes stood silently. So we did it. But Silas Kale, standing nearby, shook his head. No, now we've just become a target. Yara frowned. We already were. Not like this. Silas said. Now we have the only thing in the galaxy that can kill what lives in the rift. The galaxy, he added, has never liked when one species holds that kind of power alone. At Zalcor High Command, Commander Vernax received an unexpected transmission. It wasn't human, it was Vraken. The image of Eliamor appeared in front of him. We warned you, Eliamor said coldly. Earth was not to be provoked. Max growled, and yet you let us attack it. We wanted to test the Centurion, Eliamor replied. See how much they remembered. And now, Eliamor said, we take it from them. At Earth orbit, Vraken's stealth ships began moving into position. They had one goal: disable the Argus command system, cut Centurion off from Earth's control. Without Argus, Centurion would fall silent, or worse, become uncontrollable. On Earth, alarms sounded. Argus spoke. Unauthorized intrusion detected. Network under attack. Origin unknown. Reyes looked confused. They were observers. They never got involved. Silas turned sharply. They never wanted to fight us directly. They let others do that. But now that we've done the impossible now, that Centurion works, they want it for themselves. They fear the Void Beast. But more than that, they fear us. At the Mariana Rift, Centurion moved again. It walked across the seafloor, massive strides echoing for miles. The ocean itself seemed to part around it. It had a new mission now, one only Silas could understand. Find the heart of the Void Beast and end it. But as it moved, Centurion suddenly paused. Argus systems flickered. Control began to fail. Argus is losing connection, shouted one of the technicians. General Reyes yelled, shut down external access. Argus replied, lockout. Attempt failed. Vraken signal detected. Protocol override engaged. In the command room, Silas stepped forward and slammed his palm onto the emergency override. This is Warden Silas Kale. Authorization, legacy, override. Argus went silent. Then, override accepted, turning control to Warden protocol. Silas exhaled. Reyes looked at him. What happens if they try again? Silas answered. Then we don't defend Centurion from orbit. We take the fight up there. In orbit, the Vraken launched their first wave. EMP drones, silent missiles, hacking. Bots made of living metal. They weren't trying to destroy Earth. They were trying to cut out its mind. Captain Yara's squad. Now back at Argus, loaded into orbit-capable dropships. Their new mission was direct. Infiltrate the largest Vraken ship and shut down the override systems manually. She looked at her squad. First aliens used us as bait. Then they tried to erase us. Now they want to steal the only thing saving this planet. She locked her helmet. Time to remind them what humans do when we're backed into a corner. In orbit, Yara's team landed on the Vraken dreadnought, silent. Corridors, no lights. Just soft whispers like thoughts floating in the air. The Verkan didn't fight with guns. They fought with memory, illusions, and tech that invaded your senses. But Yara kept moving. They reached the core chamber, and there it was. Synthetic brain, pulsing with stolen data. Images of Earth. Centurion, the vaults, even her team. Silas's. The voice came over the comms. They're not just trying to steal the weapon, they're trying to copy us. Don't let them. Yara placed the charge. The Varakans swarmed in dozens of thin, tall figures, their bodies flickering like holograms. The team fought in close quarters. Blades, plasma bursts, smoke. One soldier went down. Another covered the hallway. Yara hit the detonator. The core exploded. The ship began to crumble. Back on Earth, Argus returned to full power. Rock and override neutralized. Centurion back under. Command. Centurion, deep beneath the ocean, moved once more. Its hands opened. Its chest glowed, and this time it pointed directly at the rift floor. Silas watched the screen from Argus. The Void Beast is awake, he said, and now we give it a reason to go back to sleep. The ocean was no longer quiet. The Mariana Rift boiled like a living storm. Tsunamis rolled across the Pacific, where their satellites failed. The sea cracked open, revealing something too large to measure. The Void Beast was rising, and Centurion Earth's last weapon stood waiting at the ocean floret's gold-lit body calm, massive and ready. The final battle had begun. At Argus Station, General Reyes watched the seismic charts spike. "We've never seen energy readings like this," one officer muttered. Argus spoke in a darker tone than usual. "Void Beast biomass has breached 32 kilometers in length, dimensional integrity fluctuating. Its body exists in multiple locations simultaneously." Reyes leaned forward. "Are you saying we can't kill it?" Argus paused. "No, I'm saying Centurion is the only thing that ever could." Deep below, Centurion stepped forward, motion pushing back the pressure of the sea like it were air. Lights on its chest spun in circles. Its core glowed white-hot. The Void Beast Roseanne, unending shape of writhing black tendrils. Vast claws and one pulsing red eye that radiated insanity. It screamed, but not with sound. All across Earth, people woke up from nightmares at the same time. Children cried in their sleep. Old radios picked up whispers from no source. The Void Beast had entered human minds in orbit. Alien ships still watched. Veracon, Zal, Kor, even neutral species that had stayed silent. None of them moved now. They all waited, watching Earth's final test. Silas Kale, aboard the control platform deep in the Pacific, linked with Centurion. "Directly," he whispered. "Let's finish what we started 1,000 years ago." The battle began. Centurion launched forward plasma jets firing underwater. Cutting through the deep like a torpedo, it slammed into the Void Beast's core with a thunderous crack that sent shockwaves through the ocean. The Void Beast wrapped its claws around Centurion, dragging it downward, toward the trench. The two giants fought like gods beneath the sea punches that shattered underwater mountains. Beams of energy that lit up the night sky above the Pacific. YARA, stationed aboard the subcarrier Aegis, watched the battle through live sonar. She clenched her fists. "We gave everything to awaken Centurion. Now we pray it's enough." Suddenly, an alert blinked. Void Beast, deploying anomaly field. Time distortion detected. Time. Bent, inside Centurion, systems slowed. Logic loops failed. The Void Beast was rewriting reality around itself. Silas felt his mind fracture. He saw memories from lifetimes ago. Cities that never existed. Futures that hadn't happened. Argus screamed. Warning. Dimensional interference. Critical failure imminent. But Silas fought back. He activated a buried command. A system that had never been used. The Singularity. Blade. Centurion's right arm split open. A A sword formed from gravity itself, so sharp it could cut through a spinesmith with one swing. Centurion sliced through the anomaly field. Reality snapped back. Silas breathed hard. Centurion grabbed the void beast's core and ripped out a burning shard of void matter. The creature howled. The sea churned. Earthquakes shook the ring of fire, but the battle wasn't over. The void beast adapted. It began splitting, forming copies of itself. Smaller, faster, but just as deadly. Centurion was overwhelmed. 5 shadows attacked at once. One bit through its left arm, another stabbed at its chest. Silas shouted, "We need more power." Argus responded, "One option remains. Activating Alpha Protocol." Deep inside Centurion's reactor, something shifted. A final power module. One forbidden. Hidden even from Earth's own people. The star core. It began to burn. Suddenly, Centurion stopped moving. Its body flashed blinding light, then changed. Wings of golden. Energy spread wide. Its chest opened to reveal a second core, this one spinning. Faster than light, glowing blue and white, Silas whispered, "We weren't just trying to contain the beast. We built something that could rival the gods." Centurion flew upward, dragging the void beast with it. They broke the ocean surface together, above the Pacific. The sky turned to fire. Lightning struck the clouds as the two titans emerged. Still locked in battle, the world watched live streams. Sensors. Military feeds. For the first time in history, humanity faced something older than stars. And it did not run. Centurion gathered all energy. One last move. Its core locked onto the void beast's real body. Not the clones. Not the shadows. Just the center. And fired the star core cannon. The light that followed could be seen from the tomb. The void beast screamed. Its body began to unravel, threads of void tearing apart. Folding in on themselves, it collapsed into a burning spiral of matter and antimatter, then vanished. Silence. Total silence. Then target neutralized, Argus said calmly. Void beast terminated. Victory confirmed. All across the galaxy, the aliens stared in silence. Earth had survived. Centurion stood, damaged, smoking, but still standing at the center of the sea. Silas Kale slumped against the controls. Yara's voice came through the coms. "You did it," Silas whispered. "No, we did." For the first time in history, the stars were quiet. No alien signal, no warnings, no threats. Because the one thing the galaxy feared had just happened. Earth won. The ashes of the void beast still burned in Earth's upper atmosphere. Its massive, twisted body, what was left of it, drifted like black dust into orbit, dissolving against the sunrise. Centurion stood motionless at the center of the Pacific Ocean. Its golden armor was cracked, its left arm was gone, its eyes, once blazing white with energy, had dimmed to a low glow. But it was still there, still standing. At Argus Station, everyone was silent. General Reyes looked at the live feed. "Status," Argus replied. Slowly this time. Final threat terminated. Galactic energy levels stabilizing. Void-class entity confirmed destroyed. Casualties minimal. Humanity remains intact. Reyes exhaled. "Then it's over." Silas Kale's voice came through coms. "Not yet." Silas stood inside the Centurion's command chamber. Smoke drifted across the floor. Red warnings blinked across every screen. Yara's voice came in through his com. "Silas, you okay?" Stared at the reactor. "I'm alive," he said. "But Centurion is dying. The star core took everything it had. It's not going to last," Argus added. "Core collapse in 5 hours. If it detonates in place, it could vaporize a third of the planet." Silas nodded slowly. "I have one final task." On the moon, the Vrakan watched. Their stealth ships, once hidden, were now exposed. Elei-Morther, Elder stood on the bridge of the observation ship. His officers reported, "Void Beast is gone. Earth survived. Centurion still operational. For now," he spoke softly, We waited for Earth to die. We sent others to test them. We whispered in the dark, ... And still they rose. He turned away. They are no longer the young species. Earth has spoken. We must listen now. At Earth's United Broadcast Stations, emergency feeds were replaced with something new. For the first time, every nation on Earth sent the same message, not a signal of surrender, not a plea for peace, but a statement. We are still here. We remember the ones who fell. We built the machine you feared, not to conquer, but to protect. And now, to every listening species across the star's Earth is awake. The message was followed by a transmission from Argus Command. Simple signal encoded in every known galactic dialect. Centurion protocol complete. Prison has been sealed. Earth stands united. Any further hostile contact will be met with force. In orbit, some alien species began to leave. Some, however, stayed quiet, watching. They weren't enemies, not anymore. They were uncertain. But one thing was now universal knowledge. Earth, once ignored, now had the most powerful weapon in known space. And Earth had used it to stop a galactic extinction event. Silas Kale stood at the Centurion's heart. The core glowed dimly. It was melting down. He opened the last emergency panel, a black vault with a single red key. Inside, it was a beacon, not a weapon, a final escape. But he didn't use it. He opened a transmission to Argus. "I'm not leaving." Yara's voice broke in. "Silas, you'll die. We can extract you." "No," he said. "This machine only lives because I bound it to my soul. If I leave it now, it could break apart. Or worse." He looked at the glowing wall of data in front of him. "I was born in a time Earth forgot. We built this so you'd have a chance. Now you do." As Centurion's body began to sink beneath the waves, its golden lights pulsed once more. The sea embraced the Titan. Its body glowed like a sun beneath the ocean, and then silence. Centurion shut down, fully, permanently, but it did not explode. Silas had used his final moments to channel. The star core's decay inward, containing the collapsed Earth, was safe. A week later, world leaders met above the Mariana Rift, not to mourn, but to rebuild, to honor those who fell during the alien siege, and to decide the future of Earth's place in the galaxy. General Reyes spoke at the summit. "We did not ask for this war, but we answered it. Earth has spent centuries alone, and we know the truth. We are not the weakest species. We are not forgotten. We are not lesser. We are human. And we endure." Yara walked to the edge of the Centurion monument. Built from alloy recovered from the sunken frame, she touched its metal, whispered thank you. Behind her, a boy asked, "Will he ever come back?" She turned, smiling sadly. "No, but he left us something better." "What?" She looked at the monument. "Proof. Far across the galaxy, strange things happened. Alien fleets changed course. Empires paused their expansions, and some species, long hidden, sent new signals this time. Not of conquest, but curiosity. One simply said, 'To the humans who stood against the dark, we see you now.'" Back in orbit, the repaired Aegis station opened its new wing. A single plaque hung above the door. Project Centurion, born in silence, died for Earth, and beside it, a symbol etched into alloy, a human hand holding back the stars. Epilogue. Months passed, then years. The galaxy began to change. Humans didn't spread through fear or dominance. They shared knowledge, helped rebuild ruined colonies, protected planets from new rift signals, because now they were the keepers of the seal. And when Earth finally joined the Galactic Assembly, no one dared challenge their right to stand tall, because the day Earth broke its silence, the galaxy finally listened.